hello there. Yes, well, the rains did cease. Yeah, it might actually be reasonably dry today. I'm sort of running into my weekend, where unfortunately I have to work. Anyway, yesterday was an intriguing day on social media with the sense that certain tectonic plates are shifting. Various people on the right, I think, have started to realise that they can dig their heels in and jump up and down about things, but the association they have with the extreme right, and extreme right, is becoming closer by the day. So there's very little between the rhetoric of, for example, a group like Britain First, kind of like your modern day BNP or NF types, and what is coming out from our standard right-wing commentators. And I just want to sort of show you a small clip from Connor Tomlinson, quelle surprise. Let's have a quick look at that. Laughs ahoy.
And Louise Perry, fantastic writer, has compared this to essentially trying to placate a abusive partner with the knowledge that if you offend them, they will attack you. The implication here is that the Met Police know this population, this protest movement is a very volatile group, and so they would rather oppress the people that are criticising Hamas terrorists than offend the sensibilities of the terrorist supporters. We should not have to put up with that.
What would you do with the mouse patrol?
As in?
What would you do with them?
Lock them up permanently. If they're British citizens, detain them indefinitely. I think we should bring back public flogging, honestly. Gosh. Because if they're trying to make themselves famous on TikTok, then at least you can make an example of them.
Leroy?
He's accusing the Met of losing the plot. He's lost the plot. I mean...
Yes, indeed, public flogging. There's a man that knows all about policing issues, and of course the adults in the room laugh at him, obviously, because when you come out with this stuff, Mr. Tomlinson, you have to expect this, okay? It's fine spouting this rubbish with your audience of 14-year-old American Nazis, but think about it, that's GB News, okay? They are happy to platform very nasty little Englanders. Some people on the right are actually realising the potential trap this has for them. For example, Emily Carver here, who I think, yes, does indeed realise that if things go a bit south in terms of a whole bunch of neo-fascists turning up, deciding that they really want to help friends of Israel, then it's going to be a bad look all round. And the penny hasn't dropped, I don't think, for someone like Connor. It's worthwhile. I mean, he actually had the audacity to post that clip up on his site, because these people never have the ability to pretend that they haven't said things. They simply are always right. But let's just look at what he put up, right? Post-liberal problems require pre-liberal solutions, which is one of those kind of Connor things that he posts up because he thinks it sounds important or intelligent. But if I said to you, well, if you're having problems with your PC, sacrifice a goat, because IT-based problems require a mystical solution, I would obviously be talking rubbish, but he thinks it's clever. Let's move on. The police are punishing law-abiding Brits to appease a volatile group of terrorist sympathisers. Now, what he's doing there, of course, is the classic far-right thing, whereby we are the British people and the other people are not British. Do you see the way that works? Clever not, yes. Like blaming a battered wife for her husband's abusive behaviour. Now, if I was Connor, I wouldn't keep banging on about the whole thing about men and women. It's definitely a bugbear of his, not getting a wife, etc. But bearing in mind his attitude to women's status in society is sort of governed by the Old Testament of the Bible, I don't think it's a good analogy, mate. I mean, it isn't a good analogy anyway. You can't police 100,000 people off the streets. You can't shoot them off the streets. Or if you do, you might have to deal with a little bit of an aftermath. Isn't going to happen, mate. You can't flog them. If we tolerate the intolerable, we unilaterally constrain our own culture, come back to that, while allowing an inferior other to take over. Let's have a little ponder about those words, shall we? Because, you see, people like like Connor really hate being called racists, but we unilaterally constrain our own culture. Well, mate, I belong to that culture, and I'm willing to bet that my DNA's a damn sight purer than yours, and I don't belong to your culture. Yeah. While allowing an inferior other, the fear of the other. I wonder who he can mean, and I wonder what colour they are. Yeah? Just nasty, brutal racism. Can you imagine if these people actually were allowed to get away with this stuff? And they complain when people suggest it's hate speech. There you go. There it is. Yeah, it's not expressly racist, but we all know what he means and who he means and why he means it. And that's what makes it racist. We know. The superior ones and the ones who are winning the argument, let's face it, yeah? Anyway, do have a lovely Friday. Looking forward to the weekend, what little of it I'll actually get. Do enjoy.